present you my small solution. My name is Florin. I'm basically working in an e-commerce company in Germany, and I want to present you system models made simple. So first of all, I want to describe you the problem that I tried to solve. Basically, I work as an architect, a domain architect for this company, and my CTO called me one day and he said, well, Florin, we need some system models. We need some nice diagrams for our landscape. And then I tried to do something which I didn't really like, but okay, it was in my job description. So I asked my fellows, architects, which kind of tools do they have, and they gave me the visual paradigm, so something like a desktop, where basically I described how our system works by dragging and dropping all the stuff around. When I finished all this work, I went to my CTO. My CTO had an overview of what happens. This information was somehow useful, but then when I went to the developers, they said they were a little bit like worried. If not, they started to hate me, like always happens with architects. And the feedback was basically, well, very nice. This is your interpretation of what you think our system works. Most of the time it works, but even if it works, it's already out of date. And then the next problem was, okay, maybe I can help you and I can update this diagram. Well, then I said to him, well, actually we have only 5 licenses in the company, and I don't know, it's a desktop tool and so on and so forth. It was a bit complicated to give the developers this thing to do. I mean, of course you can solve it by buying more licenses, but everyone was afraid, like, you know, the softwares, like, they change every year. We buy new software and then we invest time in putting our diagramming information in there. The other problem was that the software was a desktop. You cannot share this this information. So basically, I was trying to think a little bit on a solution for this problem, and I decided basically to have like a small application which has the different properties, like these diagrams should be shareable. So in the end, I should have like a link where I can paste it in my documentation. It should be collaborative, so you can also contribute it, like, and having basically an API, you can also use a machine to enrich these diagrams. You don't, and also the key point was that you don't have to draw it anymore, because this software will do it for you. And yeah, because there is also this fear of buying a software which it's closed source and so on and so forth. I said, well, actually we can control our solution and we can put it on GitHub. So if you want to extend your features, then you have it there. And if I'm that bastard who leaves the company, then it's not like lost, more or less. So yeah, so basically it looks like this. Let's start from the diagram. It's pretty simple, actually. So let's say you have like an actor A, or it could be, like I said, a machine, a developer, an architect, wherever, who can basically communicate over an API and document the model. It's basically saying, well, I have an application X, which is contained by product Y, and this application X calls application Z, and so on and so forth. Yeah. And this is stored in basically in a system model state of your system. This system model basically is like a graph representation. So you have all the applications and all the system nodes that you document in here. You can define relations between them, and then later the idea is that you can query the system model. So basically you can say, well, I have a table in my database which is shared by some application, but I don't know exactly how many. But if this documentation is done properly, then I can say, well, what are the first level dependency on my table, or second level dependency on my table, and so on and so forth. So basically we can do queries, and also you can generate some diagrams based on some layouts that you want to have. For example, you can generate a data model diagram or a C4 diagram. So this is how it works. The engine for diagramming is PlantUML. Does anyone use PlantUML until now? So basically, it's a pretty nice tool which you can type in Markdown, like you do it with GitHub Markdown, and you type the diagram more or less. It's actually pretty simple, and this is basically an environment for me to generate diagrams. Yeah. So actually, the PlantUML, I don't have an example here. Looks like this. No. So basically you say, well, I have, oh, okay, good. So here's, for example, a component, and this component is called by this other component to do this, the collection of data. Yeah? It looks like this in the end. So if I generate it, well, not this one. So basically, by describing this Markdown, I can have this picture on the right side. Okay, so basically, this is the idea, how it looks like. So here's a demo. It looks like this. I have an API where basically I can do different kind of operations. I can create a system node, yeah, and I can say, well, I want to declare a table in a database. I want to declare a column, or I want to declare an application, a schema, and this kind of stuff. Then the next operation, I can say, well, I already have some data inside. I want to find this this node. So basically, I can say, I want to check all the products that, oh, where is it? Okay, doesn't work. Let's see if I have the, probably I killed it. Just a moment to start the application. Okay. So basically, these are all the products that we have in logistics in my company. And for example, I could say, okay, good, then I have a product called Article Forecast. Or let me choose something that I know better, basically, okay, parser routing. Actually, this is confidential, you should forget when you exit. When you exit the room. I didn't expect that I do a presentation, that's why. And then I can paste it in here. Well, I want to find the direct connection to this product. Yeah? So then I run it again and I say, well, okay, I have something like this, APP-LNC. This is actually a database schema. Yeah? And then when we are talking about database schema, then I have also this. So until now, I show you the bare minimum, how to say, query possibility that you can do on this model. Then you also have something like, yeah, exactly. So I put the database user here, and I have an image, and I can generate something like this. So basically, these are all the tables used by my database user. These are owned, and these are basically accessed through grant roles. Yeah. And it's pretty interesting because you don't have to move a muscle, basically. I just push all this information by querying Oracle, for example. And also people, after I queried the Oracle information and I queried the product information, I told my teams basically, please make a link from product or from application to database, and then I can have this connections. Yeah. So I have orders table. That's horrible. You see, it's 1999 table. Yeah. Don't look at it too much. Forget it. Again. Yeah. So basically, this is how it looks, and the idea is also that, for example, as we are trying to move to Amazon, you can basically create a small application which lists all the resources that you have in Amazon. And then once you have the list, then you can push it to this system. And then also you can go through the roles that you have in Amazon and you say, okay, this S3 bucket can be accessed by this user, which this user is represented by this application. And then I can define this kind of dependencies and relations. And afterwards, you bring this information here. We can query it. We can plot it more or less. And yeah, basically, that's the idea. So this is the demo. Yeah, I'm the lonely cowboy on this project so far. So I'm looking for contributors because actually you're the domain expert in this area. So you don't need to find a domain expert. And also, like in the example from Eric Evans' presentation yesterday, sometimes we need like a playground where we want to play with DDD. For example, I just started with this idea. So basically, I'm like 4 years, 2 years back from the Dublin guy who has already 4 years of experience. So playground, it's also good. And yeah, tweets are also good. And here is the GitHub account. Yeah. Okay.